Good evening. A very happy ODP day. What a fabulous way to start our event this evening with so many images sent in from our colleagues. It has been wonderful to see such a buzz on social media today, with you all sharing your images, your careers to date, and the reasons why you're proud to be an ODP. It really is wonderful to celebrate the diverse profession we have, and that is such a strength of our profession. My name is Hannah Abbott, and as President of the College, it is my pleasure to welcome you to our live event this evening. It really is fantastic to be able to celebrate ODP Day, and we're delighted that the technology we have come to rely on in the past year has been able to bring us together virtually this evening. As you all know, however, now and again, we've all had an odd challenge with technology. So despite numerous rehearsals, if we have any little glitches tonight, please do forgive us. This evening, we will give you an overview of the current work of the college, and then members of our professional council will be answering your questions. We've had lots of questions sent in, and so hopefully we'll be able to get through them all this evening. During this evening, we'll also be hearing messages of support from colleagues throughout the UK, and then we will finish with a toast. So please do have your glasses filled and ready for the end of the evening. I'm incredibly honoured to be President of the College of Operating Department Practitioners, the professional body for our awesome profession. And particularly on this, our fourth National ODP Day, and the second ODP Day during the global pandemic, during which our profession has shown their flexible and adaptable skill set in responding to the national emergency and caring for so many acutely ill patients in the most difficult of circumstances. In preparation for this evening, as I got the presidential chain ready, I reread the Latin inscription, which says quite simply, "I serve the cause of humanity." I can think of no better words to describe the contribution that the ODP profession has made this year. You have truly served the cause of humanity during this period in our history, which has affected so many. And for that, we thank you. I am very proud to be an ODP and to lead our professional body. For me, the reason I love this profession is that it presents us with an opportunity to make a difference every day. Holding the hand of a frightened patient, working as part of a team that saves lives, providing dignity at the end of life, or inspiring the future of the profession through education and leadership roles. As President of the College, therefore, I am committed to making a difference to our profession, to drive our profession forward so that in turn ODPs can continue to deliver high quality, safe and effective care in the rapidly changing clinical environment. As part of this commitment to driving the profession forward, the college is engaged in a number of different work streams, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of those before we move to our panel session. Of course, the past 18 months has been dominated by COVID-19. And very much for us, we have been very involved in the initial response to COVID-19. For example, we were working in the National Infection Prevention and Control for Aerosol Generating Procedures guidance. We also worked with NHS England and Improvement to contribute to the key documents, including the Clinical Guide to Adult Critical Care during the COVID virus pandemic. But now as we start to look forward and we start to look forward to recovery, we're working alongside other organisations around the recovery of services. So we represent ODPs on the elective task force. It's chaired by Professor Stephen Powis, who's the National Medical Director. And that group is focused very much on the recovery of elective services and particularly elective surgery, which of course ODPs are fundamental to that recovery. And that recovery, the impact of course is enormous. So many people who have waited a long time for elective procedures. But we also represent ODPs on some other groups, for example, the National Professional Bodies ECHO Group and One Voice groups. And these concentrate on staff, on supporting staff who've been working through incredibly challenging times, and actually the recovery and the support for staff going forward as they move to return to whatever the new normal is. We also work alongside the arm's length bodies and other AHP professional bodies to think about the future workforce. It's fundamental that we continue to provide ODPs into the workforce to deliver that safe, effective care. And as the need for ODPs continues to grow, it is absolutely key that the pipeline grows with that. So as part of the People Plan, the AHP Workforce and Education Strategic Oversight Forum, we consider all of those. We then meet separately to specifically look at ODPs and ODP national data sets and what the impact of those is on the future workforce. So it's fundamental to what we do. As part of those discussions and leading from those, we've maintained a regular dialogue with both Health Education England and with the universities. Initially, during COVID's first wave, we were talking about deployment for ODP students when they were taking on their paid placements last summer, and then how we safely returned to supernumerary placements. But through that, we've also built a really strong virtual educators network to share good practice. And I know Mike, one of my colleagues, is going to talk to you a little bit about that later. Our continued representation of ODPs on many national working groups, including the Perioperative Care Collaborative, the Anaesthesia-Related Professions Committee, the One Together collaboration related to surgical site infection, are all key to what we do, and making sure the ODP voice, your voice, is heard in all of these national forums. More recently, we've started to work with some new national groups. For example, those related to sustainability, which is becoming key in healthcare across professions. Also, we're talking about longer term careers for ODPs in critical care. The response we have received from senior staff in critical care who've been in touch with the college, praising the amazing work that you've all done during deployment, during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I know that some of our colleagues would like to retain those careers in critical care. And certainly the feedback we're having is that many units really want to keep ODPs within that area of practice. So we're part of working groups to actually make sure we can support that in a really sustainable way that actually enables you to progress in those careers. Those of you who've heard me speak over quite a few years will have heard me talking about PGDs and patient group directions and our work in medicines management. And I have to say, it's one of the most frequently asked questions that the college receives. So rather than pick it up in a question, I'm going to talk a little bit about that now. So we have been working in around medicines frameworks for ODPs really since before 2015. So our current work with the NHS England Chief Professional Officers Scoping Project, brackets medicine prescribing, supply and administration, is continuing. However, there is a long history here. So as you'll know, prior to 2015, we conducted a national scoping exercise as a college to gather data. That data and that report that we published in 2015 became the basis of our application to be part of the national working group. And so as the part of this national working group, we produced the case of need, and in conjunction with some very, very talented NHS England team and their business analysis and financial analysis, we also produced the cost benefit analysis. Now, many of you will have read those documents because they were launched as part of the consultation. If you haven't and you'd like to access them, they're available online. The national consultation is now closed, and the results are being analysed and the report is being produced. Unfortunately, we're not permitted to share the results of that consultation at this stage until the report is signed off for publication. And obviously, when that happens, we will make sure we share that on social media. The report then needs approval from the programme board and will then go to the CHM. That's the Commission for the on Human Medicines. In order then to enact the change in legislation, assuming it's approved at both those levels, we then need parliamentary approval for the change in legislation. As you can imagine, with Brexit, with COVID, parliamentary time has been somewhat pressured over a number of years, which perhaps is why this project has taken longer than we'd originally hoped. And there are obviously a lot of a lot of people looking for parliamentary time, but hopefully we will be in that queue. And realistically, I wouldn't expect to see a change in the legislation or even us perhaps get to Parliament until the end of this year. That is probably the best case scenario at this point. However, we are absolutely committed to working with that project and seeing it to completion. Once all being well, if we have the change of legislation, if it all goes through, the next stage is around implementation and supporting ODPs to make sure they're prepared, ready to use PGDs in the future. So it has been a long road, and thank you for journeying on with us, and thank you to all of those who have submitted case studies and given us examples. We couldn't have got to this point without that support. But we are making progress, and that's the real positive here. We've also started the data gathering exercise related to the evidence base ready for prescribing. We know that for some ODPs in enhanced and advanced roles, that is key to enhancing patient care and service delivery. But it's absolutely imperative we have the evidence to do that. So we've started that data gathering exercise already. And again, we'll keep you informed as that process works through. This year, we commissioned our first research. So alongside Health Education England, and we've commissioned Allied Health Solutions to explore the support worker workforce and the opportunities, challenges, and experiences of those that want to access pre-registration ODP education. And that's really important work. Today, we're celebrating the diversity of our ODP profession. And that diversity is also fueled by diversity in our applications for pre-registration courses. So this is a really important project so we can widen access to the profession and enable our support worker colleagues who want to continue on a path to registration and careers as ODPs. We know how important it is for those who are interested in this fantastic career to be able to access information. And so in addition to supporting development of national resources, for example, the WOW show that you'll have seen, we're also working on something a little bit new and exciting for online. So watch this space. There is work in progress, and as soon as we can share it, we will. So I hope this has given you a flavour of some of the work we're involved with. And as I say, we'll pick up some of these themes in a little bit more detail as we move into the panel session. However, we cannot do this alone. And so a huge thank you to all of those who've been involved this year, who've supported us in all different ways, through getting in touch to give us examples, for all the frequently asked questions that come through, because that helps us help other members, and for all of those who've been part of our committees. Those of you who've heard me talk about the college before will know that I've talked about it not being a building, but it's not just a building on Euston Road. The college isn't a building, it's not made up of that. It's made up of you, our members, our team who work together. And we've shown this more than ever. This year, we've all worked remotely from throughout the UK and continue to support our members, to drive our profession forward and to work on a number of projects. But in order to continue to do that, it's absolutely vital that the college continues to grow. So we'd really like you to get involved. Follow us on social media, interact with us on social media. When we've got a vacancy advertised, send in an expression of interest. Or if you're really interested in something, or you have a burning issue or something you want to talk to us about that you think could make a difference to ODP practice, please get in touch. We really, really love talking to our members. We would love to be talking to you gathered in a room tonight, but unfortunately, we're not able to do that yet. But please do get in touch with us. We really, really want to hear from you. And so thank you very much indeed for listening. I will now introduce my fellow panel members, and we'll start working through all the questions you've sent in. So tonight we have a number of members from the Professional Council with us. So you've got myself, obviously, as president. I'm afraid I'm going to be working around my screen. So we've got Mike Donnellan here. Mike, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Hannah. Good evening, everyone. Happy ODP Day. My name's Mike Donnell and I'm the Chair of the Education and Standards Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we've got you, Bill, as well.
Oh, hi, thanks, and a happy ODP Day to everyone. It's been fantastic. Bill Kilvington, I'm the Patient Safety Lead for the college.
Fantastic, thank you. And Reg?
Hi, happy ODP Day to you all. I'm Reg Lloyd, I'm the Devolved Nations Officer.
And then we've got David, who's our newest member of council.
Hi everybody, happy ODP Day. I'm David Bethel. I'm the student lead for the College of ODPs.
And I can also see Alan on my screen.
Hi everyone, my name's Alan Lofthouse. I'm a National Officer with Unison and I'm the Link Coordinator with the Professions Council. Happy ODP to you all.
Marvellous. So we're all here this evening. A couple of our professional council members are not able to join us, so they are watching this from afar. So to start off, this is our 4th ODP Day and it's the 76th year of the college, albeit we've had a few different names in the history. So Bill, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the college and how it's structured?
Very brave, Hannah. We're 10, but we won't be. I will talk about the college, and I won't particularly talk about ODPs BC, i.e. ODPs before college, although I could go right back to Elizabethan times. The college was founded in 1945, and it was actually at the behest of Sir Ivan McGill and the then theatre technicians that he worked with, and they suggest they organised themselves. And the college was founded as the Association of Operating Theatre Technicians. Now, as Hannah said, 76 years of the college, reflecting upon that frightening statistic, I have been on the professional council for exactly half that time, which is 38 years. And 24 of those years I was privileged to lead the college, first as chair and then as president. So I could talk a lot around many of the milestones that I will mention, but I won't go into too much depth now. Happy to chat with people offline. So we founded in 1945, and in 1951 we changed our name to the Institute of Operating Theatre Technicians, and we introduced the national examinations, the diploma of the Institute. This followed on from the first training schools that were set up, and the very first training school was actually at St Thomas's Hospital in 1947. So I think our profession probably had the first formal training in perioperative practice way back then. So we went through a lot of development in that time, and then in 1970 was the next major milestone when for some reason there was a great shortage of operating theatre staff, something that seems to occur periodically through our history, including now. And a committee was set up by the Department of Health, or then the DHSS, Department of Health and Social Security, and they produced a document called the Lewin Report, under the chair of the committee called Walpole Lewin. And that talked about organising our profession in a more formal way and creating a career structure. And as part of that, entitled us ODAs. He created Operating Department Assistants, was our professional title. And even back then, in the report, it was recognising that we were able to fulfil all functions in the operating theatre, surgery and anaesthesia, not recovery at that time. But they reckoned you still had to have a nurse in the clean area should nursing advice be required, but otherwise ODAs could run the place. And at that time, the college changed its name to the British Association of ODAs. We were then ancillary staff, of course, and those of us that were around at that time, we were paid weekly. On our pay slips, we had something called a foul linen allowance, the same as the porters, because we had to deal with obviously the linen and things in the theatre. But we were striving for professional recognition. And in 1984, we transferred from what was the ancillary council, the ancillary staffs, to the professional and technical Whitley Council. Interestingly, Committee B, which was the scientists, and not Committee A, which was the therapists. But that was a huge step in our history going forward. In in 91, it was a government initiative to have national vocational qualifications, and I can make lots of jaundiced views about how that came about and how it went, but we were the professional group that they chose to take on NVQs. And without a doubt, there are a lot of very good things about NVQs, about competency-based practice and care, but it wasn't actually a very good professional qualification for us to take the profession forward. And so in 1998, after some machinations with government that I managed to go through, we had the ability to introduce a diploma in perioperative practice, and that became our first qualification that we own the curriculum of. So we've really started taking control of our profession at that point. I mean, it's just an aside, it came about because an MP, Helen Jones MP, was sponsoring a private members bill in the House of Commons for the regulation of ODPs. And I met her in the House of Commons bar, as you do. And she was explaining that as a private members bill, it wasn't going to change the law, but raise awareness. And what did I want out of it? And I said, at that time, we were running the voluntary register. And I said, it would be really good if the government and Department of Health would recognise it. And I will never, ever forget that she said that that Frank, who was Frank Dobson, the Secretary of State for Health, gives me a lift home in a ministerial jag most nights. I'll put it to him. And the following week, I got a call from the NHS executive saying they'd had it on the highest authority. They had to issue guidance on the regulation of ODPs through our voluntary register. And that then led to it being a requirement for ODPs caring for NHS patients to be on our voluntary register. And so that's when registration really took off, albeit the college running it. That in turn gave us the authority, really, or we assumed it gave us the authority to change our qualification. If we said you had to practice, you had to be on the register, we decided in order to practice and be on our register, you needed to have a certain qualification. So we spent 2 years consulting on the implementation of the diploma. And that was fortuitous because it also unlocked a barrier within the HCPC to our entry, which was the NVQ, to be honest. It wasn't seen by them as a professional qualification. So in 98, we became the Association of Operating Department Practitioners. We took the title Operating Department Practitioners for the profession without any authority. We just decided that's what we're going to be called. And that's why you're all called ODPs today, because we felt that was the right way forward. It was also beneficial with our bid for registration because the HCPC didn't really want assistants, they wanted practitioners. And so that suited everybody. So the first qualifications diploma came around in 2002. And that's when that became the entry to our voluntary register, was through the diploma examination. That in turn, after much lobbying, led in 2004 to the Health Professions Operating Department Practitioners Order, which was a parliamentary act that gave the HCPC the authority to take over our register. And we became a statutorily registered profession at that point with the HCPC. The college's register transferred to the HCPC, and it's my lasting pride that my college membership number on my fellowship certificate is 03679, and my HCPC registration number is 03679 because I transferred to HCPC from the college. So that's the continuity there. We continued along till 2007. Two things happened in 2007. We decided that since we were no longer a regulatory body, we would become the college because that better reflected our role in education with the curriculum and so on. So we changed our name yet again, hopefully for the last time, but who knows, to the College of Operating Department Practitioners. And the other thing that happened then, and some of the older members will remember the great angst around the drug keys. I mean, the younger ODPs today, or more no ODPs, will never imagine that you could practice in an anaesthetic room without having custody of the controlled drugs, working with the anaesthetist. And the safe custody regulations were a major barrier. Those changed in 2007, that gave ODPs the authority to possess stocks of controlled drugs. 2011, we published the BSc curriculum in operating department practice, and that set the foundations for us becoming a degree-based profession. There'll be a bit more, there's the questions about that later on, so we can talk a bit more about that. And that's the journey we've been on. The majority of courses now are degree-based, and as you're probably aware, the HCPC have been consulting on making that the standard of entry. And then finally, in 2017, we actually formally became AHPs, Allied Health Professions, when Suzanne Rastrick, after the college made a case to her, invited ODPs to become part of the AHP family under her authority at the Department of Health. And that was a huge step forward for us. And also, that was the year, partly in celebration of that, that was the year we introduced National ODP Day. So here we are.
Absolutely, Bill. And I think you've actually led me in quite nicely to one of our next questions, which was, 4 years ago, we celebrated coming under the Chief AHP officer in England and under Suzanne. What impact do you think that's had?
As I say, in the 38 years I've been with the college, we've had some momentous changes. And I would put coming under the Chief Allied Health Professions Officer as probably one of the most significant, probably after registration. The reason I say that, 38 years of fighting for this profession, often against a lot of barriers, sometimes against open hostility, but always with allies. And we used those allies and it was fantastic. With Suzanne, we haven't so much got an ally as an absolute champion. She absolutely champions this profession as one of the AHPs. We are included in absolutely every development opportunity that the allied health professions have. We'll hear a little bit later from Health Education England and the Beverley and the amount of support we get from that. All of that stems from us becoming AHPs in 2017. And I really cannot overstate the importance that that move was in our professional development. I believe it's what set us up, certainly for the medicines work that you've talked about, and hopefully with the PGDs and then in due course prescribing. None of that, I believe, would have happened without us being part of the AHP family. And all of the recognition we've got as a profession working in ITUs, critical care and other areas over the past year in particular, whilst ODPs have always done that sort of thing, have always been flexible and adaptable, it's being part of the AHP profession that has really empowered that hugely and allowed it to be recognised in the highest offices.
Absolutely. And I think, that representation and being part of that group has been invaluable for us. And we've got a video from Janice St John Matthews from the National AHP team to tell us about the next phase of some of the National AHP work.
It's mute. I think our first glitch.
Yes, I think we've had a little bit of a problem with the sound with Janice, which is such a shame because it was perfect earlier.
Yes.
We're going to have another go.
On behalf of the team at the... Hello, my name is Janice St John Matthews and I'm the current Clinical Fellow to the Chief Allied Health Professions Officer in England at NHS England and Improvement. On behalf of the team at the Office for the Chief AHP in England, I'm recording this video today to mark ODP Day on the 14th of May. The team wanted to share their gratitude for the hard work and dedication of operating department practitioners, not just today, but every day. My second reason for recording this video is a call to action to every single operating department practitioner and the wider ODP community. We are asking that ODPs, along with the wider allied health professions family, join us in an online conversation currently happening called AHP's Listen. Insights from this conversation will inform the next AHP strategy from England. We've already heard from the public and what they would like to see in our strategy moving forward. So it is really important we hear from all allied health professions so we capture a diverse personal and professional voice. So join us at ahpslisten.org to ensure we capture the operating department practitioner voice. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful day and evening, and happy ODP Day!
Fabulous video, and please do get involved with responding to that national piece of work. One of the questions we did have come through was about how the college had represented the profession during COVID, and I think I've touched on a lot of that in my opening presentation. But what I would like to say though is that actually through that we've worked with a lot of other different professional bodies, which again raises our profile as ODPs. And we've got a message from Rachel Moses, who's an AHP leader, but also President-elect of the British Thoracic Society, who wants to acknowledge what the particular contribution ODPs have made in recent times.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Moses. I'm an allied health professional leader and I am also currently President-elect of the British Thoracic Society. And I just want to say a massive hello and thank you to all the ODPs out there as you celebrate National ODP Day on the 14th of May 2021. And it's not just a thank you for the outstanding contribution you have all made during the last 12 months, whether that be in delivering patient care, working in deployed roles, or in research and education. We're just so grateful to have you as part of our AHP family. So I just want to say enjoy your day, and I really hope it's as wonderful as all you are. Thank you very much.
Fabulous. It's lovely seeing these messages come in from so many different people. So Mike, in terms of our support for students and education, can you tell us a little bit about what we've been doing over the past year?
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. I think the easiest way to explain that, Hannah, is to describe the work that we've done with the ODP programme leaders. And can I take this opportunity, please, to say a huge thank you for the work that the ODP programme leaders have done over the last 12 to 14 months and the ODP programme teams. When you think back, March 2020, overnight, teams had to change all that teaching delivery, which was face-to-face in the classroom, had to go online and by remote learning. For some of us, the technology that was using, we've never used before. For others, they'd use that technology, but we didn't know the full capability. And so overnight, all that moved to online. There was also assessments as well, which we may have undertaken in the classroom, which we could no longer do. And so they had to be redesigned so that they'd be fair and consistent to every student. And we had to prepare the students for that as well. And of course, at the same time, there was a fair test of the knowledge required for the learning outcomes. So, we'd have meetings between us to discuss things, how other people had been doing it. And of course, as well, course programme leaders had to change the timetables, bring forward theory sessions, and try to place students in practice when they could do so. The workload has been enormous. And in all this time, they've had to support the students as well. And the programme leaders also had that other problem that September, there was a new cohort starting. And so they had to carry on doing open days online and have course selection events and interviews. So the workload has been enormous, but typical ODPs, they've got on with it. And so just thanks so much to every course leader and academic member of staff. Thank you. I think what we've been doing is that we've been in discussions with Health Education England, and at the beginning of the pandemic we started to have weekly meetings with Health Education England along with the other allied health professional bodies. And we were able to relay the information that we were getting from HEE straight to the programme leaders. We'd also been in discussions with NHS Education Scotland and Health Education Improvement Wales, but with HEE we'd been having these regular meetings. And then there was initial times, it was, as you mentioned before, Hannah, about the paid placement scheme. The HCPC were at these meetings as well, so we could inform the programme leaders about the temporary student register. And then we could feed any feedback that we got from the programme leads, we could go straight back to HE with, and they listened to everything that we said. As things got better over the summer, the next thing was about recovery and restart, and there was a clinical placement expansion programme, which some ODP teams put in for. Something else that happened though during that period of time was that, I hope David doesn't mind me saying, but David Hoggins, who's for programme leader at the University of East Anglia, in the same school as Dave was Dr. Lisa Taylor, who developed a project which was about virtual placements, and we invited Dr. Taylor to one of our meetings, and we thought, is this something that we could do here as a virtual placement, not to replace clinical practice but complement it. And Lisa very, very kindly put in a bid to Health Education England for some monies for to have workshops for all ODP courses, and she was successful. We were the only profession that have had these monies. So, and we started the workshops then in the autumn, and some of the programs now have got the peer enhanced e-learning project. And so thank you very much indeed, Lisa, and thanks very much indeed, Beverly Harden from Health Education England for that. Moving, I guess, to January when the next surge came, again, we were in conversations with the programme leaders. We were fortunate that the students had the key worker status, that helped a great deal. And we were one of the professions as well that the students could enter university, only a limited way, but we were able to get into the skills absence simulation. So we've been very fortunate in that. So I think it's that key is that information exchange with HEE and the programme leaders. I've got a video now from someone. It's a privilege to introduce this person. They're a physiotherapist by trade, but they're the most strongest advocate I know of operating department practice, and I think they should be an operating department practitioner. So can I introduce, please, the Deputy Chief Allied Health Profession Officer, the lead in Health Education England, Beverly Harden. Thank you.
Happy ODP's Day. My name is Beverly Harden and I am the Allied Health Professions Lead within Health Education England. And whether you are an aspiring ODP, a student, a member of our workforce working as a practitioner ODP in theatres, wherever you may find yourself, as an advanced clinical practitioner perhaps, or an educator, one of our theatre leaders, whether you are working in research or academia, doesn't matter where you are as an ODP, because you pop up everywhere. I want to wish you a happy ODP's Day, and I want to say to you that you are a absolutely brilliant and unique profession, yet so often you are hidden in plain sight. And the pandemic has shown so clearly the incredible skill set that you have working in theatres and perioperative care and recovery, in critical care units, and way beyond the boundaries of any high intensity environment. ODPs appear and ODPs are offering incredible service across our healthcare system to populations, to people. I want you to know we see you. I want you to know that we believe in the profession, absolutely. And the time is now for us to absolutely step the operating department practitioner profession into the sunlight, and for people to absolutely realise what you offer, the brilliance of the skill set that you have, and the fact that we need more of you. We need to see more of you in new places, doing more, so that we can absolutely realise the talent and the skill within your workforce. Happy ODP's Day, and we will look forward to continuing to work together with you to liberate your full potential to the benefit of people, populations and our patients. Thank you for everything. Bye-bye.
Marvellous video there from Beverly. And as Mike said, true advocate for us. But one of the other things we really wanted to do this year is actually work more closely with students themselves. So we now have our student lead on our professional council, David, who I'm handing over to in just a minute. So David, tell me more about what you've been doing and the student ambassador roles.
Thanks, Hannah. So my role really got started during probably the back end of the first wave. And it was to ultimately represent students and the views, especially in the way that students were being affected with the disruption to the programs and the placements. And working quite a lot with Mike Donnellan, linking back with universities, and then some conversations with Health Education England as well. What I've been able to do is to make sure, excuse me, that ODP students on whatever pathway they're on, whether it be diploma of higher education, BSc, or indeed a degree apprenticeship, every single aspect of your program and how it is run has had the most representation as possible on behalf of students. And not only how the pandemic has affected students in the lived experience, but I'm quite proud to say that we've been able to get across some ideas that students have had because we experience things from a different viewpoint. And some of those ideas have actually been listened to and taken on board and implemented as well. And only for the help of the likes of Mike and the rest of the professional council at the college, students are being represented as a profession more than I could ever say. So I'd like to say thank you to my peers in the college for allowing that to happen. One great thing that came out from the pandemic is it was basically upon a recognition that to represent students more effectively, I needed to get amongst the student communities. One reason being that it was quite clear that there was so many regional variety in terms of student experience and the way that the pandemic had affected students. So I come up with the idea to start a student ambassador network, which I'm pleased to say has got off the ground and exceeded my expectations. And what I have now is 9 student ambassadors, one of those being from the military. And what they do is they give me a perspective on how things are at any given time around the country, but that also helps them address issues a lot more sooner because they've got a contact within the college where we can, get on top of any problems. And it's not just problems; we indeed share good practice as well. Which I think Michael, will vouch for that. So, the Student Ambassador Network has been a fantastic addition to the student lead role. And to top that off, I would like for the next lot of student ambassadors coming on, I'd like more students to see the benefits, see the developmental benefits from a personal perspective, and start to get involved more with the professional body, because without students' voices being heard, the profession can't move forward in terms of the way that it helps its students. And just to finish on that, I would just like to tell everybody how much I admire students and the resilience that they've shared, that they've shown, throughout this past 12 to 14 months. The desire to keep going forward when things keep changing, by learning in completely different ways. It's not suited to everybody, but at no point, people give up. And, I absolutely admire every single one of you. And, particularly those that have qualified through COVID as well. That transition has not been easy, and it certainly wasn't as planned. So I think it's safe to say that the profession is in very good hands. Dedicated ODPs in the making, and I wish every single one of you the very best of luck.
Fantastic. So we'll hand over to a video from Ellie, one of our student ambassadors.
Hi, I'm Ellie and I'm a student ODP at Birmingham City University. I've been asked by the College of ODPs to speak to you about my journey so far and how I've managed to thrive as a student ODP with a disability and an invisible illness. Now, the reason that I chose to become an ODP and go on that journey was because I witnessed the amazing work that ODPs did. Now, having a patient that is at their most vulnerable, being able to advocate for them, but also having all those specialist technical skills, for me, that is just what I wanted to do. And it's living up to expectations. It's absolutely incredible. So fast forward to where we are now. I am currently on placement and I am loving every single second of it. It's absolutely amazing. So the course, it's hard work. We all know that. It's hard work for anybody. And then if you throw a disability or an invisible illness into the mix, it can get really tough. It can, but all the support is in place. I've been incredibly supported. Birmingham City University have been amazing. Their support has been incredible. My placement area, they have been brilliant. And the college, they've been really supportive too. So it's one of those where it's really difficult, but it is so worth it. All that support is there. I'm treated as Ellie. I'm not treated as the student with the disability. I'm not treated as the student. I'm treated as me, just with a couple of adjustments here and there, just to make things that little bit more manageable. And I'm loving it. I'm managing. It is hard work, but when has something that's been worth it not been hard work? So from me, it's just saying, student ODPs, keep going because you are nearly there. ODPs, keep going because you're there and you're amazing and you do so well at supporting us as students. And if you're thinking about going on that road to become an ODP, do it because it will be the best thing you've ever done and all the support is there waiting for you. So from me, it's just a happy ODP day.
Fantastic. What a lovely video from one of our student ambassadors. So one of the other questions we get a lot is how do we work with the HCPC? And I think this very simple and quick answer here is that we work with them on every committee they're involved with that's open to professional bodies. So we've worked very closely with them on the sets and the new sets or changes to the set 1. We've worked on the standards of proficiency with them and any changes there. Bill's been attending their equality and diversity and inclusion groups. So they invite us to all of the work that they're doing and they're very, very keen to support us. And we have a short video from Christine Elliott, who's the chair of the HCPC, again, who wanted to support today. So I'm going to hand over to Christine's video.
Hello, I'm Christine Elliott, Chair of the HCPC, and I'm delighted to be speaking to you all on Operating Department Practitioners Day. It's especially important this year to recognise the hard work of ODPs and many others across the health and care professions who've all given so much in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. All of us at the HCPC would like to express our deep gratitude to the 14,000 ODPs on our register for your commitment and dedication throughout the year. This has been a truly testing time for you, being on the front line of the battle against this terrible virus. Last year, as part of HCPC's Your Stories series, we heard from ODPs, including a locum working at University Hospitals Coventry and Warwickshire NHS Trust, and also from a recently qualified practitioner. Both spoke very candidly about how they felt working in a dangerous situation, given the difficulty and sometimes the impossibility of social distancing in an operating department. But they also spoke about the support and of a real sense of bonding with other colleagues. They talked about the excellent levels of training. These included sessions on proning ICU patients and general ventilation, drug infusion and airway skills. It was wonderful to hear about such specialised care being given at this crucial time, and I'm sure they reflect your own experiences up and down the country. ODP Day is celebrating personal and professional diversity, something we at HCPC are thrilled to support. As part of our commitment to being an inclusive and diverse regulator, this year we launched our second annual Diversity Data Survey to gain a better understanding of equality, diversity and inclusion across our professions. These insights will be used to create and develop policies, regulatory processes and strategies that reflect the diversity of our registrants. I want to thank everyone who took part. We'll share our findings with you soon. I hope you all enjoy your ODP Day, confident in the knowledge that you are a vital part of the multidisciplinary operating theatre team, and that your work really matters and is making a difference to patients every single day. We at HCPC are honoured to be sharing this celebratory day with you, and we wish you all the very best for the year ahead.
Fantastic. Now, Bill, one of the top questions that we have around the consultation on the change to Set 1 and the potential for graduate entry to be the minimum requirement, the top question on this is, if you're already registered as an ODP, do you then need to get a degree? The short answer is what? I think you're still on mute, Bill.
Talking on mute. The answer is no. The reason I'm being asked this question because I have lived through so many iterations of our professional qualification, of course. When I started, people were assimilated to grade from the old institute exams. Then we went City and Guilds, NVQ, DIP-HE, and now we're hoping that we will go through to the BSc. The important message is that you qualify to the standard of your day. And then you have a professional responsibility to keep yourself up to date and current in your practice. Don't forget, everybody that's qualified today, who is qualified today, has probably been trained by somebody who has joined the profession through a legacy qualification. So the most important thing is this is part of our ongoing development. The BSc will bring additional aspects to our learning that will make us better practitioners going forward. And that will always be the case. But the most important thing is, if you're a registered ODP, you are no less a being than anyone who's going to come after you, as long as you keep current.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bill. So we hope that's allayed a lot of the concerns that we've had coming in. Now, we often also get asked around how the college works with Unison, and the CODP sits within Unison's Science, Technical and Therapy Occupational Group. Reg, can you tell me how that works?
Yes, difficult thing to explain. The Science and Therapies Group sit as a collaboration of AHPs, OTs, and most recently quite a few ODPs. I think I'm one of 5 at the moment. They sit under Unison and they gather views of the ODP and the current practice. And obviously I'm vice chair of that group and also sit in professional council. There's good linkage. We're very lucky to have Alan as our national officer, but also has linkage with STAT. So there's frequent communication between the two groups. And also we have good dialogue with our fellow HPs and other members of the Science and Therapies group. It's difficult to explain unless you sit on it, but the very first time I joined them, it was probably about a year before I joined the Professional Council, I was the only sole ODP voice, and now I sit as pretty much half of the group as ODPs. And I must admit, since they've joined, it's become a feisty group. They're not short of opinions, and there's obviously a lot of the opinions of the ODPs across the countries that actually feed into that group, and you know, things come through unison as well as the college. So it's a useful body.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think the important thing here is that that's part of our governance framework, that we sit within that STAT committee, and then we operate under our own terms of reference and memorandums of understanding as well. But we're going to hand over part of the relationship we've had with Unison, though, has given us access into a number of different people. And you'll have seen 2 years ago for ODP Day, we met MP Rosina Allen Khan, who's remained a supporter of the college and has sent us a message for today. So I shall hand over to our video for that.
Hello, it's Dr. Rosina Allen Khan here, MP for Tooting, Shadow Minister for Mental Health and proud NHS doctor. I want to say thank you to every single operating department practitioner across the country. In the face of stress and uncertainty, each and every one of you has played a vital role in supporting patients and surgical teams. There's no doubt that without you, the NHS would be unable to carry out the life-saving work it does day in and day out. As a doctor, I know how important it is for patients to see themselves represented by those who take care of them, especially when they're the most vulnerable. Supporting patients throughout surgery, it's therefore imperative that we encourage people from all backgrounds to become ODPs and ensure the diversity of our country is reflected in the operating room. I've worked in theatres. I know how vital you are. We couldn't do our work without you. And I just want to say, you really are valued. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. We've also heard a lot about the work of the Education and Standards Committee. But Mike, can you just tell us who makes up the Education and Standards Committee?
Yeah, thanks, Anna. It's made up of a combination of academic staff and clinical ODPs as well. So it is a mixed gender throughout the country. We used to have representations from the old LEPBs, the local education and training boards. That's how we did it geographically. So that continues. We've also have a member though from advanced practice as well. We thought that was important given our more and more ODPs who are going into advanced practice. Been very, very busy recently. We have representatives from the ESC that attend the National Audit Project 7, which is the examination of perioperative cardiac arrest. Very important that we have representation there. As you mentioned, one of the committee also attends the anaesthetic related professions committee, which is linked to the Royal College of Anaesthetists. We're very fortunate as well. During the autumn, one of the members made links with the London Transformation Learning Collaborative, who had developed a skills matrix for staff who needed upskilling to go into ITU in redeployment. And Helen was really good. And we've got our own ODP tab now on that skills matrix, so that's really an important piece of work. And we mentioned the PEAK project as well. We've working with e-learning for health, and we're going to have hopefully our own learning hub where we could put material for if people wanted to exchange information on that.
Fantastic. And I think one of your committee members wanted to say hello this evening.
Yes, a privilege again. A good friend of mine, Lloyd Howell from Newcastle, Northumbria University.
Hello, my name is Lloyd Howell. I'm the professional lead for operating department practice here at Northumbria University. I'm also one of the members of the Education and Standards Committee for the College of Operating Department Practitioners, and I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish everybody all the best for National ODP Day. Thank you.
Marvellous, lovely to hear from Lloyd. And one of our final questions, because I'm conscious that we promised you that we're running a little bit short of time, is around how the college promotes the profession. And I think we've talked about that a lot this evening, but one of the questions that's come in on YouTube chat tonight is around how we push the profession with the trusts. And I think one of the big ways is today. When we sat and created National ODP Day about 5-ish years ago, we never wanted it to be something that as the college we did to people. We wanted it to be ODPs promoting themselves in their local organisations, in their local areas, local schools, local shopping centres. And you've done that amazingly. You've done that absolutely amazingly. You know, we have been restricted the last 2 years because we haven't been able to be in the shopping centres and out and about. But within your own trusts and using social media, we have made an incredible difference collectively in raising the profile of the profession. But we've also done other things. So we made sure that all students were eligible for the Learning Fund when that happened. Equally, we've been doing a piece of work in order to ensure that NHS Digital has updated the occupation codes. So actually what's now on the electronic staff records in your hospitals are correct. As an aside, we've also been trying to make sure that the British Association of British Insurers have ODP included on their occupations. So next time you phone looking for your car insurance, you should actually be able to be ODP rather than have to pick another category. But actually what we want to do with trusts is working through the AHP councils and faculties, working with you, our members, working with Unison and their local branches to make sure that we do get that voice out. But what I would say is fundamentally, as ODPs, we can support you, but there are so many of you out there. So you are your biggest advocate. You absolutely are. And you're incredible. The work you do is incredible. And so please, if we can help and support your, raise your own profile in the trust, we will absolutely do that. But get in touch with us, tell us how we can help, and we will see what we can do. So we've tried to get through most of your questions this evening. Thank you so much, for that. As Bill's just popped a note as well in saying that the trusts actually contact us a lot. So we've had a lot of emails from NHS organisations asking us they want to create a new role for ODPs. What's our view on that? So we do liaise directly with a lot of NHS organisations as well. So before we raise our glasses and our virtual toast, we'd like to share one more message of thanks from the family of one of our student members. And I think this is a really lovely way to finish our formal part of the evening.
Hi, my name's Nina. I'm here to support other ODP professionals.
Hi, my name is Chloe and I'm here to support the NHS professionals.
Hi, my name is Isaac and I'm here to support the British healthcare system professionals.
ODP.
Sorry, I've been doing this for a year and I've still forgotten to unmute myself. So thank you so much to our panel and to all those who've shared photos, videos, tweeted during the day. I'd like to say thank you to our PC members and all our other committee members who've worked tirelessly throughout the year. I'd also like to say obviously a big thank you to Alan, who's on the call today, for his ongoing support. And also Val, if you wouldn't mind turning your camera on, we would like to say a huge thank you. Val, you do so much for us and for everybody else. ODP Day wouldn't have happened today if it hadn't been for Val's hard work. Many of the events we do are fundamentally down to everything Val does. And also all of you who've emailed the college for questions, Val deals with so many of those and forwards them on to us as well. So thank you, Val. We really couldn't do it without you. We would give you a very big virtual round of applause. So thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank Cleo, John and Dan, who are hiding in the background tonight, but they are the IT extraordinaires who've made this evening possible. Thank you so much. They've been absolutely amazing. So we're really, really grateful to them. So as we come to close our fourth National ODP Day, every ODP, whether on the front line, supporting essential education, working as a vaccinator, or by supporting the government to protect the NHS, has contributed to the current emergency. And for this, on National ODP Day, we thank you. I'd therefore like to invite you to raise your glasses or your mug of tea in a toast to our profession. Thank you, ODPs, and happy ODP Day. Cheers. And so I'd like to say good night. Thank you. Stay safe. And we will see the fabulous photograph slideshow to finish this evening. Thank you. Goodbye.